Hi there. We've all been to a place, where we say to ourselves, we want to change, but somehow we stay stuck in the same place. But you see, most times the reason isn't laziness. The reason is the silent contract that you have signed. Yes, you. You have signed a contract to be that way. And if you don't tear up that contract, you're going to remain like that for the rest of your life. Who did you sign that contract with? That's the question I know that you're asking. You signed a contract? You're not aware. Yes, it's a silent contract that you signed with the old version of yourself. Now, the old version of yourself is holding you to ransom, is holding you to a certain standard that you're used to, your comfort zone. Anytime you try to go beyond this comfort zone, the voice of your old self comes and tells you this. Why? Is that not you? Tolulokpe, you're not meant to do that. You're not built for that. David, that's not your place. Those are not the kind of things you do. These voices keep ringing in your head day by day and refuse you the right to the next step on your journey to greatness or to whatever it is that you want to become. And that's why you're still stuck. You have your loyalty to that old version of yourself. You don't want to disappoint it. And it is going to be disappointed if you actually if you depart from it. It's like an ex that doesn't want to let go. I don't know if you've ever had an ex before, but this ex just refuses to live your life. Your old version of yourself never wants to leave. And because it represents your comfort zone, it may never leave if you don't tear up that contract and take a bold move forward. Now, let me tell you about somebody that tore up not just one contract, but several contracts in his lifetime. Now, his name is Arnold Schwarzenegger. Is an actor, and former, he's been many things, during his life. But let me tell you a little bit about his story, so you have a little bit of, background. Now, Arnold grew up in a small Austrian village post-World War II. His family was ravaged with poverty. His father was strict, even abusive. And the message was clear. I mean, when you have, you're not a man of means, there's a certain way you start wanting to talk to people that you are responsible for, maybe like your children, your family. Know your place. Be realistic. Don't dream too big. Know who you are. People like us don't do such things. So those voices were passed down, maybe from his own parents, to Arnold's father, and then Arnold's father was passing it to Arnold. Now, this was the first version of the contract being passed from a generation before, maybe your parents or your guardian or whoever is responsible for molding your mindset from when you're young. Now, that message says stay in your lane. But Arnold had other ideas, He saw a bodybuilding magazine and he decided, I will become the best in the world. And then I'll go to America. I'll be looking there. The camera is here, sorry. By the age of 20, Arnold was Mr. Universe. Because he refused that voice of his father that said, know your place. He decided he wanted to become a bodybuilder, and then he went to America. So by age 20, he was already Mr. Universe. He could have stopped there, but he didn't. He pushed himself further. He said, you know what? I think I want to become an actor. I want to become an actor. But again, the voices in his head came. The voices that were already formed now. They were now his, not even his father's voice anymore. They were now his own voice, telling him, because now his mind is already molded. So now he's saying things like, your accent is too thick. Remember, he's Austrian. Your accent is too thick. You know, in America, you know, everybody say, I'm gonna, I want to do, you know the way they speak with their accent in America. And then you come with your, you know, I want to be a bodybuilder. You know, I'm not good with voices. I mean, I'm trying to mimic Arnold Schwarzenegger's voice. You look like a monster, you know? Yeah. His voice was telling him stuff like that. You'll never be taken serious in Hollywood. With that accent, with the way you look, you know, that's another invisible contract. Trying to tell Arnold to know his limits. You know, but Arnold refused to sign that contract. He was like, you know what? I'm going to practice how to speak better. And so he took speaking lessons. He took acting lessons. And you know, Arnold, his accent wasn't perfect. You could even till now, he still has an accent, you know, but he is the star you know today of The Terminator, The Predator, Total Recall, and countless movies of Arnold Schwarzenegger that have, you know, because of those movies, he has warmed our hearts and all of that, and he's one of our most beloved actors of all time. If he had listened to those voices, do you think he could have achieved those results? You know what? Arnold went a step further. He didn't stop there. Now, Arnold went from being an immigrant to world champion to Hollywood legend. Then he ran for governor of California. And he won. And then he won again. Twice. You know, and every step of the way, he had to reject a new contract. That is old version of him. I'm like, what is wrong with you, Arnold? You are just a bodybuilder. You are not American enough. How can you, compete for a political post? You are not political material. The old version was livid, getting frustrated that this new person, was about to leave him alone. You know what? He tore up all the contracts. Because he understood that something most people don't understand. Your story only stays the same if you keep agreeing to that old version of yourself. The old version of yourself is the monster, is the ogre, is the one you need to get away from, is the evil one, is the spiritual village person trying to take away your life from you. So it's not you that you want to become, that is your dream, that is the problem. It's the old you that's the problem. It never wants to leave you alone. So you may not want to be a movie star or a governor, but maybe you want to reinvent your life. You know, maybe you want to move to a new country, maybe you want to start a new business. Become the version of yourself that you know that is hiding inside. If that's your story, the very first step is to ask yourself, what invisible contract have I signed without meaning to? Ask yourself that. Maybe now, maybe after this video. What invisible contract have I signed without meaning to? You know what you do? Take a pen and write out that contract. Or if you have several contracts that you know you signed with your old version of yourself, write them all down on a piece of paper. Take that piece of paper, tear it up. Because the future doesn't belong to the realistic. It belongs to the deliberate dreamers. You have to be deliberate. If this episode spoke to you somehow, comment below. I am tearing up the contract. All right? Like, subscribe, share with someone you believe. Now, this is Profit Magix, where transformation feels effortless and magical. See you in the next one.